there's so many ties into this match. Obviously, both teams came to life in their second matches in the group stages. The U.S. still having left 4 points on the table after probably being able to get 3 points against Wales and giving up that late penalty, and then against England, being the better of the two teams, but still only leaving with a point leaves a lot to be desired. Again, when you go back to some of the points that Lucho talked about, you got all the tools, but we don't have anybody that can score goals for us right now. We don't have anybody that's able to put the team in a situation where they're going to say, okay, whether we're playing well or not, or we're against the run of play or with the run of play, I'm going to convert for this team, whether it's a set piece or not. We don't have that person right now. We've seen some flashes, but in this game against Iran, it's going to require somebody to be able to do that. Yes, the team collectively is going to have to play well, but somebody's going to have to be the star in that big moment and put the team on their shoulders. If they don't, then I think this team is not going to be able to get out of this group, because Iran only need to get a draw. They can play a little bit differently. They can play more conservative. They can change their lines throughout the game. They can play a little bit more tactically, where the U.S. is going to have to take some higher and more strategic risks if they want to get out of the group. I still like the U.S.'s chances. I want to see the best players get on the field. I'm not sure we'll see that with the way that Gregg Berhalter wants to play. The biggest question is around the 9. Who is going to be the 9? Because we've tried Josh Sargent there. And we've tried Haji Wright there, neither of which have really performed in that situation, and we haven't gotten a lot of goal-scoring production. So it's going to come down to what those final changes are in the attack, but ultimately it's going to be a very difficult result, added to the pressures and the stresses of everything happening between the U.S. and Iran politically, both on the social media side as well as all the things happening off the field. So it's a lot to play for. I'm nervous about it, but I can't wait.
I can hear that in your voice. But definitely my concern, and I will throw you back to you once again, is we've seen in 2 games. I think that the midfielder with Taylor Arman is just fantastic. I know he understands what is needed. I think it is one, and for me, the best player at the moment in the U.S. national team, because he understands very well what is needed in every single moment and every single phase of the game, when it needs to be slowed down, to get faster. He's covering so much space. He's covering the other players with mckennie one side. But my concern is, where are the players like Aronson and Gio Reyna, the creative player? Once again, it's so difficult to find players who can break lines of defense, who can make something unpredictable. And when you got players like them, that when they are on the ball, we've seen Gio Reyna just grabbing the ball in half of the pitch and beating 4 players, just dropping the shoulder. You need these kind of players when you need to create chances. You are not creating enough chances. You will mention that you don't have a player who can end the pro from nowhere. You need 4 or 5 chances to get maybe 1 goal. So you need these creative players. So the defense to the opponent side can be worried about them, because they don't know how to control it. They move so much. Why Pulisic is such an important player for this U.S. national team? Because he appears so many different. He's got the freedom to go anywhere else, and he can turn to the right, turn to the left, change the speed, shoot with the right, pass with the left. So these kind of players are so important. So I was missing Gio Reyna and I was missing Aronson in the last couple of games, and that's why I don't know what are your thoughts, but the midfield is strong. It's a lot of fight. It's a lot of a battle over there. You can control it, but you don't have that player who can link with the players up front.
I fully agree.
Go on, Heath. You take this?
Mike. No. I mean, my only thought to that is I fully agree. I think that's been the problem, right? Is what is the balance? You look against the U.S. and it took us 25 minutes, or against England, sorry. It took about 25 minutes to settle in, where you saw not just one player like we usually do, but 3, 4 of the young guys kind of look each other in the eyes and go, okay, we can match up with these guys. We can play against these guys. We can compete. That was on the competitive level. That was the fight level, right? But then you need to start adding those creative pieces. And when you miss those, you leave it to, again, a moment of brilliance, as opposed to the run of play of really forcing England and now Iran to have to fear you and respect you and say, okay, man, force them to the right side. Okay, the right side's now getting overrun. Let's get them back to and really tried to constantly having to solve problems. So I think it's certainly an issue. Hopefully we get to see some of those creative players on the field, though I'm not holding my breath at this point.
Leads me to ask you guys this. There's 2 burning questions. I'll leave the last one for when we go out. We go out on a high as always. But my first burning question, and I'll ask you this, Heath, and then Lucho. Given what you've seen, you're Gregg Berhalter. You said it yourself, Heath. 2 strikers didn't deliver. At what point do you play Jesus Ferreira, or do you just go back to one of the other 2?
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I don't think we'll see it, but the U.S. was good against England because they played a sort of a hybrid two-striker system that put Timothy Weah higher up on the field and then closer to the middle of the field. That started to create that connectivity with that midfield three, as well as that connectivity with the other striker. And I really like that for periods. The upside of putting a Timo Weah into the midfield or as your sort of false nine or even traditional nine is it's going to give you more freedom to put a Brendan Aronson on the field or a Gio Reyna. So you can solve the problem. Sometimes you have to accept that you don't have a nine. You don't have the nine that's going to provide for you. And you've seen now, and especially in the modern game, teams are willing to say, well, we don't have a nine, so let's play something different. Man City is the perfect example of that forever. And there's plenty of examples out there of teams that aren't the Man Cities of the world that have to make those adjustments. Now, whether Gregg Berhalter is willing to do that or not, or it's a little bit more of a hybrid system, is to be determined. But I would love to see that because I don't think Jesus Ferreira is the right fit. Otherwise, he would have played already. I don't think Josh Sargent's shown enough in the minutes that he's had. And then Haji Wright, same things. There's flashes. He's a little bit more of your traditional striker that can run the channels, hold the ball, and do those things. But when we're talking about needing to win against Iran because they just need to draw, we're going to need to put our best attacking players on the field that are willing to take risks at the right times to put the team in the position to win.
Yeah, I'll go that Spain doesn't have a number 9, but you go 3 players with a lot of movement, a lot of creativity, with a good sense of what is happening around the box. So I think my big concern is in the middle, where you got Yunus Musa, you go McKennie, that they are very similar players, strong, quick, that they can arrive from second line. But at the end, when you are talking about that pass, that last pass, that find the gap, that find that right moment, the pass in the right moment, the last third, I think is missing. That's why I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not saying changing the whole system, but at least adding someone else who can bring something different. That's my only point and my only concern up front. You will mention guys, Wright, Sargent, Weah, they can all, I think, fit and score goals, but they're going to need to be fitted with good balls.
Lots of questions, big questions for Gregg Berhalter to answer. His saving grace is the fact that the U.S. men's national team have a game that matters in this last match day. USA, Iran. And let's not forget about some of the other games going on in Group B. Wales versus England. A player, we talk about things that teams are missing. A player that's been missing in action, Gareth Bale, alongside his counterpart, Aaron Ramsey. Quick thought on this one. I'll go to you, Lucho. Is this foregone conclusion, England to beat Wales, or do the Welsh really stand a chance?
No, I don't think so. I think that England is going to do the job. I've seen, and once again, we're going to talk about what is happening up front. And Wales is being always a team that is going to put you a lot of fight. It's going to put you a lot of battles in every single line. They're going to be well organized. They're going to try to make great transitions. But Gareth Bale is not anymore the Gareth Bale that we all know. He's going to be assisted and surrounded by players who can also take the spotlight from him, and it's not happening and it's not working. And at the end, of course, there is a set piece. If he's got a chance from outside the box or maybe a good cross, he can be important. But if you see the way that England has been defending, I think it's been fantastic. I think it's a team that is at the moment, yes, being conservative. They are not displaying all the power that they have. And I think if they're going to need, they're going to put one more year and we'll just get the win. And I think that Wales doesn't have a chance. Maybe they will shut me down after the game with a 2-0 win. But that's the way I've seen at the moment.